Here we are in our leadership module 2. So we'll just kind of go through the module very quickly. Our first discussion, our forum for this module will surround the immortal life of Henrietta Lacks. And I think that you'll find this to be a very interesting discussion that will ensue based on the questions that are posed. And we're really looking at some very pertinent concepts in many different facets, not only with day-to-day practice, but we're also looking at as you're exploring your projects and as you're doing some of your city training, you'll see some of the same concepts included. So really within the DNP program, we're really interjecting much of the same types of concepts and reinforcing some of the materials in other classes as well. So feel free to share information that you've gained through possibly your city training or other aspects that may be pertinent to the discussion about informed consent, for instance. So, and as far as the second forum for this module, we're actually going to have you post your legal aspects presentation. Again, you are all doing very unique work, so you can learn so much from each other. And this kind of ties into our TED Talk that was chosen for this week as well, that each and every one is so very important to the big picture. And we gain from each and every person that we come into contact with, and we have an opportunity to learn from them as well. And that ties in many of the concepts that we're going through in our ethical leadership course. So we're learning the value of each other, we're learning the value of each and every person and their unique characteristics within this course, and looking at concepts specific to that as far as social justice and those types of things. So with that being said, we're going to go on into our module and we'll do a quick overview of the module. So hold on. So in our second module, we're really going to look at the big picture, and many times our staff or those that we work with have some conflicting feelings going on, because very often laws and regulations may or may not seem to be the most appropriate for individual needs. So it's really very difficult when we're posed with those challenges each and every day. Something that is a rule may not be the best for a particular individual or a particular group of individuals even. So it's very hard to tease those things out and really look at where we are as far as some of the rules we have to follow and what's best for our patients when we're looking at making sure that we do no harm and work to do good for those that we serve. So let's take a quick look in the module. So of course, we start out with thinking about our thinking. So we're kind of framing this module based on some of the content of the TED Talk. So really think about what's being said during this TED Talk, and you may really connect with the message. So of course, we have our readings in our GRACE textbook. This is a very pertinent article on the Affordable Care Act, and just kind of an update, and each and every day things are changing, it seems. So this is one of the most recent articles on the revisions and what the Affordable Care Act really entails. Of course, we'll have our presentations that we will be doing, and this is the assignment link where you will actually submit your completed presentation, And also you will be posting your presentation within the discussion board as well. And of course we have the content folder, and again, there's quite a bit of information that will help you through this particular module within the content folder, so please be sure to take a look and review the materials that are available to you to supplement and to help you actually answer some of the forum content as well. So just hold on a minute, and we're going to go specifically and look at the rubric for the legal and regulatory aspects presentation. Hold on. Okay, as far as your presentation, starting out, we're just going to kind of look at the big picture, where we're coming from as far as this particular assignment. So many times as leaders, you're actually charged with making sure that the standards, the laws, the regulations, all those things are followed. And with that, there may be some pushback or some misunderstanding, or just some general thoughts from those who have to actually apply those standards, laws, and regulations into practice that may cause some conflict as far as their own personal values and beliefs, or possibly in delivering care that they may feel like they're not able to provide quality care to their patients because they feel confined by some of the laws and regulations. So that's the essence of this particular assignment. We're going to look at that conflict, and we're going to look at ways as far as presenting the big picture so that those that have to actually implement the standards directly to the patients or to the populations will have a broader and bigger understanding. Sometimes we're a little challenged in sharing the whys behind why we are doing what we are doing, why it is necessary to do so. And then we also need to look at, within the law or the regulation, how can we make it the most appropriate for those that we serve? Because each and every facility has a different culture, each and every group of patients and each individual is different. So how within the confines of those rules and regulations can we customize what we're doing for those that we serve so that we can have the best possible outcomes for not only those who receive the services, but also outcomes for those who deliver the services as well? Because sometimes it really causes that dichotomy, so to speak, as far as what management is wanting those who deliver care to do. So it's that separation, and this assignment is geared to making those connections that really we're all on the same page. It's just that those messages become very mixed sometimes. So with that being said, that's kind of a really long explanation, but that's the premise behind this particular assignment. And what I want to encourage you to do is choose a topic that's very meaningful to your area of practice and use this presentation in your practice to actually help make those connections and get on the same page with those who are on that direct care. And I'm not saying there's problems every place. I'm not saying that by any means, but sometimes we just need some of those tools to make sure that those communications are very clear and helping everyone to understand the why behind what we're doing. So let's move on. There's some general instructions listed here, and these are the kind of the nuts and bolts as far as what needs to be in the presentation itself, and just a minimum of 10 slides. You most certainly can do more than 10 slides, and just keep in mind who your audience is as you're doing the presentation, and focus on the most meaningful information to deliver. Sometimes we just want to say everything, and sometimes that is not the most effective way to really make those connections. So being concise is very helpful. Also, you want to make sure that you have 4 scholarly references within this presentation. So you want to have that substantiation of what you're saying within your presentation. And again, that adds those teeth, so to speak, the evidence-based practice in the presentation itself. So carefully follow the rubric, of course. You'll have your introduction and make sure that you have 3 measurable objectives for the presentation, and make sure that you're very clear as far as what the objectives are for your audience. You'll include the content, what the mandate that you're addressing entails, and you can be creative here. And if you have any questions about what would be a good subject matter, that's perfectly fine. Just let me know what those questions are. It could actually be the use of cell phones. It could be possibly the use of social media. It could be a particular regulation within your area of practice, something that has caused some maybe mixed feelings within your practice. Those types of things are very pertinent for this particular presentation. And usually it has to do with maybe a policy or procedure or a law or a regulation, those types of things. So make sure that your presentation really focuses on that connecting with your audience. So again, this is something that we're looking for as ethical leaders, is not just telling people things, but it's making that connection and having that sharing of information again. And this goes back to how we're framing our module based on our TED Talk as well. So there's a theme going on here. And of course, you want to kind of summarize everything in your conclusion, and again, give an opportunity to actually have some discussion or integrate some thoughts within the presentation as well. And if you actually want to give this presentation and video yourself doing so and submit that, that is perfectly fine. You can most certainly do that, or you can do a dry run of the presentation as well. So it's really up to you in which way that you want to actually submit this particular assignment. And as always, make sure that the slides are done professionally, and that your speech and your slides are professional in manner, and of course APA format. Make sure that you cite your slides as well as have the reference list at the end of the presentation. So again, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know. This is really a very helpful assignment, and students in the past have really enjoyed this one and have learned quite a bit from each other. So take care now. Let me know if you need anything. Bye.